something I learned in this process. So we refer to our test garments as muslin. However, we are using muslin to make a test garment, which is actually called a toile. So all this time I've been thinking and saying, I'm going to make a muslin. I want to make a muslin, but I'm not making a muslin. I'm using muslin to make a toile. And I did not get this revelation until after I made this video. So a muslin is actually a toile. So as I started working on the muslin for the front of the pants, I got a little concerned because I was wondering if this is cut along the fold. That's not lined up, but if this is cut along the fold, then what happens up here when it starts to go in a little bit? And I was looking at this and remembered, or I noticed rather, that this does not say cut on the fold. So I'm actually going to have two of this pattern piece here. So I had to stop myself for a minute because I was getting a little confused because I'm so used to cutting on the fold whenever the layout shows the folded side versus the selvage sides. So muslin is actually believed to have originated in Dhaka, Bangladesh, where the climate there is very hot and humid, and the muslin gives the person who's wearing it breathability and versatility, and it's very soft, so it makes it a very comfortable garment to wear or fabric to wear in very, very hot climates. I also learned that muslin is not only used for pattern testing or garment testing, but it's also used for quilting, it's used for home decor, it's used to clean. Many people use a muslin to clean. It's used in the arts and entertainment, and is also used by surgeons. So surgeons actually use muslin as part of their surgical procedures. And there are four main grades of muslin. You have gauze, which is commonly used to dress wounds because it's ultra lightweight. You have mull, which we often use for pattern testing garments and making a test garment. Then you have Swiss muslin, which is a lightweight sheer muslin that has dots on it and is commonly used for warm weather clothing. And then you have sheeting, which is actually the thickest and coarsest form of muslin that's often used in clothing and home wares. Now, there is a difference between cotton and muslin. Muslin fabric is oftentimes made from cotton, but it can also be made to incorporate silk and viscose. The biggest difference between muslin and cotton is that your muslin has a much looser weave than most of your cottons do. I truly did enjoy learning about the nature and a little bit of history about the muslin. All right, so I'm ready to start working on the muslin, and the first instruction tells me to stitch the center back seam down to the notch, or down to the dot rather. And I've got my dot right here with the punch tool. You can see that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and just stick a little pin in there. That way I keep those dots aligned since I moved my fabric now a little bit. And then I am going to sew this. I'm going to put some more pins in it to keep all the seams together. But then I'm going to go ahead and sew this right down the middle with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. And I am not going to change out my needle or my thread from my last project because this is just a muslin, and you know, I'm not super pressed to, you know, be changing anything out right now. I just want to get a general idea about how this will fit. Okay, so that's how that looks. Okay, and then it tells me to go over that seam again with another stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. So guess what I did? I made a mistake and misread the daggone first instruction. Well, I read the instruction properly, but what I did not do was follow the instruction. And my daughter has been running in and out of this room, and I made a mistake and did the double stitch on the part where the zipper is supposed to be installed on these pants. So now I had to pull out the little seam ripper, which we know always stay handy. And yeah, so I gotta take this out now. I've gotten most of it out, it's not too bad. I guess because it's a lightweight, you know, it's a sheet, so it doesn't take a whole lot, but gotta start this again. Someone showed me this little trick. This end here on the seam ripper is supposed to help get the loose threads off of your garment, and I don't know if I actually knew that. That's why that end is so rubbery feeling, but yeah, it's taking these threads right out for the most part. All right, so that's how the seam is supposed to look. Don't mind my finger, y'all. I broke my fingernail 2 days ago and I have an appointment, so don't judge a girl with the little broken fingernail. But yeah, so I got this done. So now I need to go and clip the curve like the instructions say. And then I think the next instruction is for me to work on the front of the pants. Well, actually, if I were doing this like as the garment, I would be installing the zipper, but I'm not going to do the zipper. I'm just going to do a fitting for just, you know, an overall fit around, you know, the tummy and the hip area, waist and the thigh. So I'm not going to do the zipper. All right, so now the next set of instructions say for the front seams, or the front end seams, it says to stitch the center front seam. I'm going to stitch that twice, so stitch it once and stitch over the second time. Clip the curves like I did with the back. Then it says to pin the front to back at inner leg seams. Okay, stretch pants back to fit front between notch and small dots. Stitch. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the stitching done on the front center seam and the sides, and then I will check out that next part of the instruction. I got a little too excited around that second stitch line, but I'll know to go slow when I start working on the original, the wearable garment. Now, the instructions didn't specify if I was supposed to stitch to this dot, and I think I was supposed to stitch only to the dot, but I am not gonna take this out. I'm just gonna go ahead and continue with this just to see if I have any fit issues right here, and if I do, then I'll know not to stitch past the dot here, but I'm gonna just leave it for right now. All right, so I'm a visual person, so it wasn't until I got the front done, the front seam done, that I started to see how this is going to come together. And it's pretty simple, so I'm just gonna do the side seam, do the other side seam, and then I'm going to sew up the inner leg seam, and then we'll see how this all looks. So I am going to pin just because I want to make sure that I keep this together. I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into the pinning because, like I said, it's just a muslin, and I just want to get a general feel for how this will fit. So I'm just gonna put a couple pins, obviously like around the waistline, and I think I saw another notch somewhere, like right here, and I'll do a couple more going down the leg. I noticed that my notches didn't quite align right here, so I'm gonna have to maybe force them to align and then see kind of where I went wrong in the cutting process, but they didn't quite align as I was putting the pieces together. Don't know what happened there, but we're gonna make it work for now. All right, so now I'm ready to do the inner leg seam, and it says to stretch pants back to fit front between notch and small dot. I really don't know what that means. I just went ahead and clipped my inner leg seam. Let me show you that in a minute. So this is the back, and I just clipped all around the inner seam. I don't know what it means when it says to stretch it back to fit in between the notch and the dot. I'm wondering if maybe if I think back to where I sewed that dot, maybe that shouldn't have been sewn. Not where I sewn the dot, but where I sewed past the dot, maybe that's the part. If that was open, it might make more sense. But I'm gonna go ahead and just sew this up 5/8 inch seam allowance and see what I'm working with. right, so that is the muslin. I don't know what in the heck happened where I had my seams wonky. I think when I did the back initially, and I took the seam out because I had sewn the area where the zipper would be. I think when I went back to redo that, I think that's where I may have gone wrong, because I can't imagine how I got my sides and all my seams messed up. I even went back and watched the footage to make sure that I had the pattern layout done properly, and that I did. I did not mess up the layout of the pattern pieces on here, so I definitely did something wrong, I think, in terms of my stitching. But overall, I'm happy with how this fit. It felt great around the leg area. It felt great around the thighs rather. It felt great around my waist for the most part. It felt great. It just felt okay. The only thing I was concerned about is that back, because I know once I put the zipper in and I put the elastic in, when I sit, it's going to go down some. So I think that's called a sway back. I'm not sure, but I do have a book in my stash over here, and I'm trying to think. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, it's this book here, Fast Fit. I purchased this some time ago, and I truly believe that this is going to help me figure out how to fix the back of the pants. That way, when I sit, they don't rise, but they come down some. I don't like that. That's not going to be a comfortable wear. So I want to make sure I'm able to fix that. So I'm going to use this book here to figure out what my method should be to get that fixed. But yeah, I am like so thrown for 1,000 loops based off those seams. But you know, good thing it happened on my muslin and did not happen on my denim, my fabric that I'm going to be wearing. So yeah, that is my first muslin, and I will say that I think I would do a muslin again, because the process, at least for this, it went pretty quickly, and I do like the fact that I was able to try it on. I will feel a lot more confident, you know, making the garment that I'll wear having done the muslin. Will I do a muslin for the jacket? I thought I was going to. I still might. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to just go ahead and probably get the pants done, since that's kind of where my mind is right now. Get the pants worked on and then go back and do a muslin for the jacket maybe, and then get that done. So yeah, you guys, hope I can figure out that sway back, I think it is, and pray that I cut and sew the original or the denim fabric properly, because I don't want to waste that fabric. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, and until we come together again, take care and God bless. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. God bless.